Hi guys, I'm FAIQAH. Today we will talk about a topic that is very interesting as we will be discussing what is certainty and what is relationship with contract at law. So without further ado, let us begin. So what is contract guys? According to section 2 plus H of the Contract Act 1950, a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. To form a contract, there must be mutual agreement between two or more parties. But if one party breaches the promise, the other party has the right to seek legal remedy. As I mentioned earlier, certainty is one of the elements that fulfill the elements of a contract, which is offer, acceptance, consideration, capacity, and intention to legal relation. So, in contract law, certainty means that the agreement is clear enough for a court to understand and enforce it. If a contract is too vague or ambiguous, it can fail for lack of certainty, even if both parties thought they had a deal. Now, let's briefly talk about this case, which is Karupanan Celapan and Chong Li Chin Chong Lai Chun, 2000. In this particular case, the first party, which is the plaintiff, purchased a hotel building from the defendant, which is the second party, under an agreement which stated that the building was free from all encumbrances. But after several years, the third party, Balakrishnan, emerged and discovered that his land had been trespassed by the hotel's windows belonging by Karapunan. And this has automatically led to the legal issues of this case. So now, let's hear it from each side.
Hello, I am Karapunan and live in Brinchang, Cameron Highlands. Before I became a hotel operator, I was a restaurant owner operating not far from the hotel I currently own. During the building construction, I saw the construction of the said building and had intimate interest to purchase it from Chong Li Chin, which is the Lot 26 owner previously. Seeing that was a new building, I assumed that everything was in order and there is no flaw in it. Not long after that, the owner of neighboring Lot 25, which is Balakrishnan, decided to build a hotel on his land, and the story begins here. One day, Balakrishnan had discussion with me to have the window protrusion removed. I felt shocked and frustrated. Suddenly, I was responsible for something I did not create. I did not design, and I did not install the windows. Yet, the burden fell on me. It was painful because I misled. As a buyer, I expected honesty and transparency. Instead, I was left to deal with consequences that belong to the past. This was not just about money or construction. It was about trust being broken. When trust is broken, it leaves a deep sense of injustice. I felt like I was paying the price for silence, which is for something that should have been clearly told to me from the beginning. This is why I sought legal action. I did not do this out of anger, but out of belief that transparency and honesty are essential in transaction. I wanted the court to recognize that a buyer should not suffer for matters that were known to the seller but not properly communicated. That's all.
Hello, my name is Chong Li Chin. I am the seller of the Sentosa Hotel building, and today I want to share what happened in this case with my side. I have been in this business for many years, and I always make sure my sales are honest and professional. So, here's what happened. I was selling the building like any normal business. However, there is an issue from a buyer named Karupanan. The buyer came to see the building, check it out himself, and seemed completely satisfied before buying it. Without asking any questions, he also didn't send anyone to double-check the building. Before that, I had obtained planning permission from LBCH, allowing me to build a window that protrudes into the space of Lot 25 for aesthetic purpose, on the condition that the window must be removed at the expense of the owner of Lot 26 when the owner of Lot 25 wished to develop his land. Then, Karupanan
claimed that I commit fraud by not telling him about this condition. Honestly, I had forgotten about the LBCH condition since it was so long ago, and it never crossed my mind when I was selling the building. I also had no intention of deceiving. I strongly deny that I hid the information from the buyer on purpose, when in fact, Karupanan had the chance to check the building and ask me anything. However, he too rushed to buy the building and never asked me about the protruding window. In addition, he should have made his own consideration before deciding. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Balakrishnan. I live in Brincang, Cameron Highlands. I am the owner of Lot 25, which is next to Lot 26. On Lot 26, there is a 4-level building known as Sentosa Hotel. Since a long time ago, I have an intention to build a hotel on my own land. Because of this dream, in 1990, I decided to build a hotel on Lot 25. I believed that my land was suitable for hotel building and I had the right to that purpose. However, when the construction and the process was about to begin, I discovered a serious problem.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
At that time, I found out that several windows of the Sentosa Hotel on Lot 26 were protrusioning into the airspace of my land. This means that part of the hotel building had entered into my airspace. Which I considered to be a clear trespass. Due to this trespass, my plan to develop a hotel was affected as well. I couldn't proceed with my development because the extending windows interfered in my land and its airspace. As a result of the situation, I decided to take legal action against Karupanan, which is the owner of the hotel on Lot 26. My reason for filing the lawsuit was that the windows of the hotel on Lot 26 had clearly crossed into my airspace and preventing me from carrying out my hotel development. Furthermore, I was forced to bear the cost of removing the protrusions, which amounted to 225,000 ringgit. That's all from my side.
So, this is the last part. I will deliver the judgment. Let's determine the legal issue first. First, whether the defendant was obligated to inform plaintiff of the existence of the condition imposed by LBCH. And second, whether the statement in clause 1 of SPA that building was sold free from all encumbrance, tantamount or lead to a fraudulent mispresentation by defendant in view of defendant non-disclosure of the condition. The judgment will sound like this. This is the fact of the case. The court decided that plaintiff's claim is dismissed because the claim was arised after 6 years from the agreement was signed back to 1989, but the case filed at 1996. Hence, according to Limitation Act 1953, it was clear that the plaintiff was time-barred and the court held that defense of limitation was succeed. Hence, the claim cannot be entertained. This is also the reason why the defendant had not remembered the condition imposed by LBCH, and during the purchase, there is no further action, question or complaint by the plaintiff. He also do not hire the constructor or set a consultation with LBCH, even though the plaintiff acknowledged about the window protrusion as the pattern defect. This proves that the principle of caveat emptor, which is let the buyer aware the risks and consequences of the building condition, was applicable. In fact, the plaintiff was interested in purchasing the building from the very start. The evidence showed that he had been eyeing the said building from the beginning. It is not difficult to see the reason in this. The plaintiff was the owner of the restaurant in Brincang. A hotel and a restaurant business could be safely inferred as synergistic to and obvious expansion to his restaurant business. Furthermore, as stated by the plaintiff himself, there were not too many hotels in Cameron Highlands in 1984. In short, a hotel business would be a good and profitable, and that the reason can be seen in his keenness to purchase the said building and start a hotel and restaurant business. If he had then known of the condition attached to the window protrusions, would he had given up this desire to start up the hotel business? I think it's not. At worst, the purchase price of RM 400,000 paid for the said building would be renegotiated. Thus, to say now that he would not have purchased it with that added information on the condition is unbelievable and must be rejected as a mere afterthought. More so, as the plaintiff now says that there are now so many new hotels in Cameron Highlands and his profit from the hotel business is small. It appears that his yearly enthusiasm is now smoothed by bad times. In addition, the court found that there are miscompassing words regarding to the issue of Clause 1 of the SPA. The phrase free of encumbrance in the SPA could not extend to the condition on the protrusions and cannot be a mispresentation that had induced the plaintiff into purchasing the building. To sum up, the court decided that all plaintiff claim is dismissed with cause.
So the contract is actually valid, but in plaintiff view, the agreement doesn't meet the essential element, which is certainty, because of fraudulent mispresentation and the ambiguity of clause 1 of SPA. However, the court already decided that the plaintiff claim was dismissed because of the application of elements caveat emptor and limitation period. To sum up, the contract is actually valid even though there is no certainty element.
Thank you for watching us. Bye.